Hello again. We opened with a couple images of the Grand Canyon, and those of us that have visited this magnificent spectacle of nature have trouble finding the words to describe the stunning, vast cleft in the earth. It's hard to envision that this region was once a flat highland plain, and it's almost unimaginable that the subtle forces of water and wind created this sprawling natural wonder. But once those seemingly inconsequential forces begin their work, there was no stopping it. Those forces separated the two sides, and the divide is going to remain. This stands perhaps as a metaphor for the political climate in America today. On one side of the gulch, we have the left, and on the other side, we have conservatives. They seem to be so far apart. And to make matters worse, the left seems to have absolutely no interest in listening to any other opinion but their own. The left seems to be blindly adhering to a vision of a socialist utopia. They seem to feel that they have wonderful postmodern ideas, but there is really nothing here that's new. In 1516, that's 500 years ago, Thomas More published his book Utopia. Our modern definition of the word utopia is derived from this work. And in the centuries following, academics, dreamers, they've all looked at the injustice and unfairness of the world around them, and they fantasized that there must be a better way. And there's a long list of well-meaning utopian idealists that have followed this path. And then we have the 20th century with the likes of Karl Marx, Vladimir Lenin, and of course hardliners like Joseph Stalin, Mao Zedong, Fidel Castro, Pol Pot, Hugo Chavez. Just like our last US president, all of those dictators offered hope and change. Another thing they have in common is the necessity to silence any opposition to their magnificent plans. Their plans can only work if we all get in line behind them and follow their lead. Their common dilemma is, what do you do with those that have other ideas? What do you do with dissenters? And their solutions, they've been just as ugly as the atrocities of the Nazis. Have we come to this in 21st century America? Have our fellow countrymen on the left, have they heard the music of the Pied Piper? Are they all gleefully following like lemmings to the edge of the cliff? They are certainly disturbed that there are so many of us who refuse to fall in line behind them. If we point out the dismal failure of Obamacare, then we're heartless, and we don't care if grandma dies. Their answer is that we haven't gone far enough. We need single-payer health coverage. And of course, political correctness steps in and demands that if we say Islamic terrorist instead of just terrorist, then we are wrought with Islamophobia. If we were critical of President Obama in any way, then of course we were racists. Now racist, that's their go-to basket. The old school Cadillac liberals, crippled and blinded by their white guilt, easily fall in line with the young who've been brainwashed by public education, and the Black Lives Matter crowd who segregate themselves just as much as the Old South did 70 years ago. And of course, if we voted for President Trump, then we were placed in that deplorable basket. You see, it's confusing to them that huge numbers of people who voted for Trump didn't ignore his flaws, and in fact, actually acknowledged them. And they can be offended by them as well. It's unimaginable to them that votes were cast for Trump that were actually anti-Hillary votes. You see, the left puts their own leaders on pedestals. Anything their leaders do can be justified, no matter what. Look at all they overlooked and justified in Hillary. The left can't imagine how someone can vote for a flawed human being when they are offering gods. And all of this is complicated and magnified by the fact that the left controls the media, and our educational system. Consider that those professions speak down to us and never have to listen. Think about that. I'm not saying that all lefties are evil. No, the liberal wing of the left, these are compassionate people. And in classic utopian fashion, they see injustice and would like to find a better way. The problem is, there's something wrong with their thinking process. You know, science tells us that the right hemisphere of our brain deals with art, music, feelings. Liberals are good at this. The left hemisphere of our brain handles logic. It is good at analysis, mathematics, and problem solving. Problem solving. Our friends on the left struggle with this, which brings us back to the problem of just what to do with those of us who disagree with them and dare question their postmodern enlightenment. They are working hard to silence us with political correctness, such as the methods I've already described. The disturbing latest development is the anti-free speech movement. I ask you to fire up the left side of your brain and let's analyze what they're really saying here. And let's be frank, the only free speech that they want to ban are the voices that disagree with the leftist narrative. It is my firm belief that free speech is a precious and vulnerable right that our nation's founders tried to guarantee for us. It is easy to see that free speech was the map that has led this extraordinary nation along a rocky and winding road of progress for the last 240 years. Why is it so hard for lefties to look back and rejoice at the unbelievable and extraordinary achievements that we have made in this very short span of history? I also know that without free speech, it's not likely that this road is going to lead us anywhere good. Now, should we take anti-free speech movement as a threat, or should we just brush it aside and hope that it goes away? Compare this to political correctness, and I ask you, how long did it take the left to change and make you feel uncomfortable to say God bless you when somebody sneezes? Thanks for watching as I exercise my right to free speech while I still have it. Hope to see you again soon.